Hey, Baxman, you're back. How was your birthday? The party was good. The day after was, well, regrettable, forgivable. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to be a positive. We're going to just think positive. We're back, and first week of June, we haven't got the details all straightened out yet. But I can tell you this: everybody's favorite co-host is coming back to be here in our new place. And the best part is, I wouldn't have it any other way. You want to do the intro? Do it. Live from the Tom O'Neill Memorial Studios inside the Park Forest apartment complex on the fourth floor. This is Steve Sporty Balls. And here's your host, Mr. Humble, Steve Bexley. And hey, hi, how are you? You caught me because I haven't had all of my supper yet. But nonetheless, it feels good to be back home again behind the Desilu Productions microphones and ready to kick some you-know-what butt. I am telling you this, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for the birthday wishes. Thank you all for the congratulations. You will not regret it. I guarantee that. Now then, what is going to happen is they blessed it. They freaking blessed it. They blessed it. There it is. 5 years. Who's going to be the co-host? Why, only one name. I think we can get a... why don't we just fold it up like this? Let's fold up like this, and look whose name. She's back. She's coming back on the first week of June. Maybe it could be next week. But, yep, Uno has been approved. And I can't wait to get her back. When that happens, she will be here. She will have a place in the living room and in the bedroom. I've already got some of her stuff already. Cat box, litter bags, all of the good stuff. Now, tomorrow I begin to put this place back together. I'm going to put things in plastic, and it's going to feel so damn good to be here. So with that said, let's get on to it. And you're probably saying, hey, Steve, where's the big guy at? Well, we're sort of giving the big guy a little time off. That means that right now we're going to be using the little guy here. And I am just hoping that we don't have any situational problems here. But, okay, you want to climb it up here? Thank you. There we go. Now, let's let's get to it and get to it now. Let's start with some big news. Former NFL star wide receiver Antonio Brown has filed for bankruptcy, according to the Times Union. Brown owes nearly $3 million to $8 million. owes nearly $3 million to 8 different creditors, as stated by paperwork filed on May 15th in U.S. bankruptcy court of the Southern District of Florida. He reportedly filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which involves the court-supervised reorganization of a debtor's assets and liabilities. That amount includes a $1.2 million court judgment to Anton Tumanov, a moving truck driver who sued Brown for assault and battery during an altercation in 2020. It also includes money owed on a credit card. Owed on a credit card. Are we okay? Yep, we're just trying to find the spot for this. Okay, or Fido. For assault battery during altercation in 2020. It also includes money owed on a credit card, a marketing firm, and a law firm, among other debts. Brown's own media company, CT-ESPN Network, confirmed the bankruptcy filing via social media earlier this week. Quote, NFL legend Antonio Brown has filed for bankruptcy today, the Post read. He will be a first ballot Hall of Famer in 2027. He will be releasing new music this summer. He is also founder of the most trusted source in all of sports. The generational run continues. So there you go. Now, Brown was drafted by the Steelers in the 6th round of the 2010 NFL draft and spent most of his 12-year career in Pittsburgh. He saw a lot of success as a 7-time Pro Bowler and even won a Super Bowl ring with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2021. However, Brown has not been back on the field since 2022 when he took off his shirt and left in the middle of a game against the New York Jets. Brown made over $88 million as a player, but he currently claims he has less than $50,000 in assets, which should tell you something about football players. They got to find somebody that's honest and true to help them. Otherwise, they're going to end up like Antonio Brown, crying poverty. Okay, the big question for New York Yankees right now is whether they can make good on their current World Series aspirations. The biggest upcoming question is also whether they can re-sign star slugger Juan Soto either before or after he reaches free agency this winter. Unfortunately for the Yankees and their partisans, owner Hal Steinbrenner has much to do with how these questions will be answered. Unfortunately is the word choice because Steinbrenner seems all too forgetful of how vast the club's resources are via Dan Martin of the New York Post. Here's what Steinbrenner said on Wednesday at the owners' meeting, quote, I'm going to be honest. Payrolls at the levels we're at right now are simply not sustainable for us financially. It wouldn't be sustainable for the vast majority of ownership groups, given the luxury tax we have to pay, end quote. Now, the word sustainable is misapplied here because this is, to repeat, the New York freaking Yankees. The Yankees could run much higher payrolls and comfortably satisfy any notions of sustainability. If there's good news, it's that Steinbrenner notes that a good deal of payroll will be coming off the books this coming off season, and that could make a re-signing of Soto fit within his particular notions of sustainability. Beyond Soto, looming free agents include Alex Verdugo, Gleyber Torres, Clay Holmes, Tommy Connolly, and Jonathan Loaiza. The Yankees this season have a payroll in excess of $300 million, which indeed puts them deep into luxury tax territory. However, they'll slough about $100 million in salary at the season's end. That clears the decks for Soto re-up, but it should make Yankee fans wonder whether Steinbrenner would be willing to address other roster needs if Soto winds up back in the fold. Really, payroll hand-wringing is not something the owner of the Yankees should be indulging in because there's no real way to run the Yankees and somehow manage to lose money. It's enough to make one suspect that Steinbrenner's greatest goal perhaps isn't winning the World Series, but instead might be something more balance sheet oriented in nature. We will follow this as well. See what else we got for you. Ooh, we do have something. Let's pop that, please. Thank you. Boom. Um, Speaking of the Yankees, the Seattle Mariners defeated the New York Yankees by a 6-3 final on Tuesday night, guaranteeing at least a split as part of an ongoing 4-game series. Part of the Mariners' victory included planting a pair of runs off Yankees starter Clark Schmidt, thereby ending what had grown to a career-best 17 and two-thirds innings scoreless streak. Now, after the game, Schmidt expressed his belief that he had been tipping his pitches and that the Mariners identified the tell and used it to their advantage. Specifically, Schmidt noted how Mariners infielder Josh Rojas appeared to be relaying messages from second base after hitting a double in the third inning. Rojas's work was rewarded when the next batter up, Dylan Moore, launched a 2-run home run to give Seattle an early 2-0 lead. Schmidt told MLB.com, quote, "It was a quality pitch for sure. Tipping is part of this game, and it's always in the back of our heads. It's something that we're well aware of. I think Rojas was definitely probably relaying some signs there at second. Obviously, it paid off for them," end quote. Rojas, for his part, seemed to confirm Schmidt's suspicions on Wednesday, quoting, "I mean, you can see in the videos he was clearly tipping," Rojas told Dale Creamer, also of MLB.com. Quote, "Everybody is always trying to look for something when we are out there, trying to find anything we can to gain an advantage," end quote. To be clear now, what Schmidt and Rojas are describing is an accepted part of the game, provided the opposition isn't improperly using technology to pick up on or relay tells, the way the Houston Astros were found to have done years ago. There's nothing wrong or unjust about noticing a tell and relaying it to your team. This kind of code breaking is common around this game, even during the PitchCom era. Pay close attention to the runners on second base, especially when pitchers are careful to hold their gloves in a manner that shields their grip, and you'll see them send signals back to their batters, sometimes by looking one way or another for a certain pitch or location, other times indicating pitch type or location by where they place their hands. You just don't have to take our word for it either. Just listen to Schmidt. Quote, "If I'm giving away the pitches, then it's credit to them to be able to find it," he said after Tuesday's game, especially a credit to Moore for being able to capitalize on a mistake. So it's definitely part of the game, end quote. It sure is. All righty. Okay. Do 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 do. All right, let's see what we got here. What we got here? Do, 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 do. Trying to get more for you here. Okay, in the National Football League, let's talk about them. It's brother versus brother 2. For the first time since the 2014 season, the Harbaugh brothers are both coaching in the NFL. Jim Harbaugh returned to the league as the new head coach of the LA Chargers after spending time in college football as the coach of his alma mater, Michigan. He's scheduled to face his brother, John Harbaugh, when the Chargers play the Baltimore Ravens in November next season. Now, this is not the first time they've been on opposite sidelines. They met in Super Bowl 47 when Jim Harbaugh was head coach of the San Francisco 49ers in the first ever Super Bowl sibling battle between head coaches. John Harbaugh came out on top as his Ravens won, very close, 34-31. Now, looking ahead to this year's Week 12, Harbaugh Showdown. John Harbaugh explains what it's like going against your sibling. He noted that it's complex because while he's always cheering for Jim to succeed, things are different when they're facing each other. John Harbaugh said this via the Ravens' The Lounge podcast. "It's so meaningful. We both root for each other. We both have each other's back all the time, and yet we're competing against each other. And yeah, there is a pride part of it. You do want to win. These things live on. These are real life moments that there's a winner and a loser in some of these games like that. And you can kind of never forget these things. And quote, while many label the competition as a fight for, quote, bragging rights, John Harbaugh says that does not encapsulate the situation. It's not so, quote, it's not so much who's going to have bragging rights. That kind of understates how it really works, John Harbaugh said. The Ravens coach added that he is hoping the Chargers make the playoffs. But if they end up meeting in the postseason, it would feel like a double-edged sword. The younger Hardball, John, said, I want him to be in the playoffs. I want them to be successful for sure. He's my brother. And if we play him, I want to win it. I want to win it. If for some reason, whether it happens, if they're in the Super Bowl, I'm rooting for them to be just in the Super Bowl. I'll be rooting for them just like in Michigan's national championship game. All in from them to win that game. Now, if they do meet in a win or go home game, he expects it to bring up similar emotions as the 2012 Super Bowl did. Harbaugh continues, quote, it's hard to lose that game. It's even hard to win that game because you go shake hands. I think there's some clips coming back about how that whole thing. That was a tough moment. Yeah, it was a tough moment. It's not all joy when it's your brother on the other side of that deal. End quote. Overall, John Harbaugh is happy for his younger brother to be back in the league, even though he says Jim Harbaugh will turn to the enemy when they meet. We shall have to see what happens. Are we ready? Good. It is 10:32. We are going. We're going long and proud, folks. What I mean by long and proud is simple. We are going to do the show. We're going to be on for, I think, 45 minutes. And who knows what else comes up, but it's going to be good. Hello, belated hello, Matt, Ed, and Eddie. How's you doing? How's you doing? Hopefully you're doing great. Again, just want to say thank you all for the beautiful mentions, the beautiful birthday greetings. It is Terrifico. Anyway, I got to scratch my ear for just a second. Pardon me. There we go. I'm having me hot and spicy firewalk volcanic Mongolian beef flavor ramen. It's not bad, but it's not that fiery because I didn't put the fire sauce on it. Why kill my stomach? More NFL, but before we do that, we do have breaking news to report. And the 2026 NFL Draft will be hosted in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. There is your breaking news. Speaking of the NFL Draft, while he feels that most of his peers are in favor of an 18-game regular season, New York Giants owner John Mara has his reservations. Mara said in an interview with ESPN, quote, I can't say I'm necessarily crazy about extending the season. I worry more about player fatigue and wear on and tear on the players moving forward. That's one of the reasons why we have to have the discussion with the players union, end quote. Now, Mara's comments were given at about the same time NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell discussed the possibility of an 18-game season. Goodell said that expanding the season to 18 games is not currently an active discussion. While adding that the league is thinking about it in a long-range context, Goodell, as he did in April, reiterated that a longer regular season will result in a reduced preseason. Goodell said, quote, "We think that's a good trait," end quote. Safety and quality, Goodell said, are two big factors in the discussion of expanding the regular season. Goodell also said, quote, "The key to us is looking at making sure we continue to do the things that make our game safer. We're going to continue to do that. Again, moving to quality and making sure that we're doing everything possible to give what the fans want. And they want, obviously, more football." End quote. Now, if Mara is right and the majority of the league owners are in favor of an 18-game season, that will likely be the outcome. It will likely be proposed long before the league's current collective bargaining agreement expires in 2030. In fact, the Washington Post recently reported that the league could very well present something to the NFL Players Association within the next 12 to 18 months. If the schedule is stretched to 18 games, that would ultimately result in a 2-game preseason. The Super Bowl will likely be played on President's Day weekend, something that Goodell himself alluded to in April. An extra bye week might also be on the docket if the league expands its regular season to 18 games. As Mara said on Wednesday, the health and welfare of the league's players has to be considered before the league makes the regular season even longer than it currently is. Now, rest assured that an extra bye is something that the players will lobby for when an 18-game season is ultimately brought to the bargaining table. We'll keep you informed. Okay, also in the National Football League, the NFC North is under the microscope. At this point in the NFL offseason, just about every team talks itself into contending. It is spring, after all. The dawn of fresh grass, first practices, and new hopes for the upcoming season, but there is perhaps no division that justifies such widespread optimism as the NFC North, which has seen 3 different champions in the last 3 years. In fact, if you look closely, there's a solid case to be made for all 4 of the quartet's clubs as challengers to the 24th throne. Now, here's a look at the best thing going for each of them. Let's start off with the Chicago Bears. Drafting the consensus top quarterback prospect, number 1 overall, certainly does help, but it's not just Caleb Williams' entry as a potential off-script gunslinger that moves the needle. The upgraded supporting cast might do just as much, if not more, heavy lifting here. Unlike Justin Fields before him, Williams won't be saddled with middling depth, but perhaps weapons at every spot. The remade receiving trio of DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and Rome Odunze alone should keep them competitive. Couple that with Matt Eberflus' defense, which rounded into near suffocation form late in 2023 and one of the easiest projected schedules of 2024. That's not hard to envision. Chicago instantly vaulting to a wild card race. Hey, how about the Lions? They got a taste of the playoffs, including a championship. Was their long-awaited 23 breakout, which ended with 1 win of a Super Bowl appearance, simply an anomaly? Not by the looks of the offensive infrastructures, which boast a rejuvenated figurehead in Jared Goff, a dynamic backfield duo featuring Jahmyr Gibbs, a solid front, and one of the game's steadiest pass outlets in Amon Ra St. Brown. Goff dispelled a lot of questions about his big stage poise down the stretch, and the sideline leadership of Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson should ensure that they stay aggressive with the ball in their hands. And add the influx of secondary help, including Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw Jr. at cornerback, and they'll remain one of the most balanced lineups in the entire league. How about the rebuilding Green Bay Packers? Their all-pro return man just tabbed them a Super Bowl contender, which would typically be cause for concern regarding springtime overconfidence, except the fact the Packers nearly knocked off the eventual NFC champions to close their promising 23. Chief reason for that, Jordan Love, who at 25, fresh off his first full year under center, might only be approaching his prime as an undeniably gifted thrower. Surrounded by young, multifaceted receiving core, a beefed up ground game deploying Josh Jacobs and a creative play caller, Matt LaFleur, it's not a stretch to suggest that Aaron Rodgers' successor could leap into the MVP race and go toe-to-toe with the favored Lions, where managed most. Hey, how about the Minnesota Vikings? Well, call them a mild offshoot of the rival Bears, seeing as though they're pairing a rookie signal caller with a favorite setup. The big difference? Well, one, Minnesota's lineup is even more suited to accommodate a young quarterback with elite playmakers as running back Aaron Jones, wideouts Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, and a tight end in TJ Hawkinson. And two, rookie J.J. McCarthy is considered more of a play-action savant than all-out superstar under center, assuming he quickly usurps placeholder Sam Darnold. This team was feisty even with a slew of post-Kirk Cousins lottery tickets. In 23, Coach Kevin O'Connell is revered internally, and the overachieving D and Brian Flores has a deeper pass-rushing rotation. On paper, the Lions got a good shot to remain the safest bet to keep the NFC North crown, which is a testament to how much they've restored their reputation under the bold guidance of Campbell and general manager Brad Holmes. They simply have the cleanest roster across the board, plus savvy decision makers on the sidelines. As for which rival is best positioned to threaten them, it's a toss-up, and the biggest variables lie under center. Most would identify Love as an up-and-coming Pro Bowl caliber quarterback after his 2023 finish, but it's anyone's guess exactly what the Bears and Vikings will get from their rookies out of the gate. Now, the feeling here is that Love is for real, meaning Green Bay should be back in the playoff picture, if not pushing Detroit for the top spot. And between Chicago and Minnesota, the latter seems to boost the better overall framework, with the O'Connell-Flores pairing edging Eberflus staff and the Vikings' weapons offering a touch more electricity. Maybe it's time to sign us up for a purple wave that puts Minnesota squarely in the wild card race ahead of Chicago at least 2025. Time at the tone is 10:41. Want to remind you next Monday we're adding a weather forecast for the nation. Dr. George Fishstick will be bringing you the weather. And yes, friends, football season is coming, and that could only mean one thing. His Eminence, that's right, another visit, and the battle between Cat, Rabbi, and Baxman gets restarted. So join us when we pick them. Monsignor Rabbi, the world famous Monsignor Rabbi Shecky Fleischman will be ready to give us his predictions coming soon. Coming in late 2024, September to be exact, right here. For the annual Who's Better, the annual Hooters Prediction Bowl. It'll be me, Uno, versus His Royal Eminence, Monsignor Rabbi Hiram Shecky Fleischman. So we hope you'll tune in. Okay, we are going to take a bit of a break. I got to get some ice and a nice drink of water. So stay with us. We got more of the madness still ahead. It is, we're in the 30-minute mark in about 30 seconds. So we'll be back. We've also got AEW recap coming up as well. Stay tuned. This is Steve Sporty Balls on the L2C Media Network. Okay. Flies. All we really need are flies. We really do not need flies. Hey! Ah! Okay, welcome back to everybody. See, I told you we wouldn't be late. Okay, time at the tone is 10:50. 15 minutes left of the broadcast. Yeah, 15 minutes. We're going to make it. We're going to make it count. I'd like to remind you that coming up tomorrow on the YouTube channel, which this is, We're going to include some commentary. The Baxman comment. Right? No, that's not the. No, we're going to call it the Baxman speaks, or Baxman's speaking on whatever. We got a lot of things on our mind, and we're going to talk about it. It'll be good, maybe bad, positive, negative. We're not going to scunch on politics because that is not our promise. Our promise is to keep things very much on a basis of sports and entertainment. That's what we want to do. There we go. Okay. So join us for what we're going to call the Baxman. We're going to call it, I don't know what we're going to call it, but here's an easy suggestion. The final word with Steve the Baxman Baxley. We hope you'll tune in. It may be controversial, maybe may make you think, or, well, it might make you just go, I didn't think of that. So join us, okay? Join us, kids. We're going to have some fun. All right. Detroit is fresh off a record-setting performance as host of the NFL Draft, drawing 775,000 fans at this year's event in the Motor City. Green Bay will be up next in 2025, and now the NFL has confirmed and crowned Pittsburgh will join the crowd, awarding the city the 2026 NFL Draft. League executives are meeting in Nashville this week, where the previous draft attendee record was set in 2019. And there was a strong sense Pittsburgh would get the official nod. CBS Sports lead NFL insider Jonathan Jones reported Wednesday morning. Pittsburgh was reportedly one of more than a dozen cities to submit a bid to host the draft in 26 or 27, with Steelers spokesman Burt Loudon proclaiming the draft would be, quote, if not the largest one of the largest events to ever be hosted here, end quote. Submission committee members mentioned Pittsburgh's North Shore near the Steelers' Acrisure Stadium as a logical destination for the event, but predicted that all of downtown would also be activated for draft weekend. The Steelers reportedly previously vied to host the draft in 25, but that event had already been awarded to Green Bay, which will feature the rookie selection showcase near Lambeau Field. Pittsburgh has only hosted one other NFL draft, and that was back in December of 1947, for the 48 NFL season, and since raised Ford Pitt Hotel, located at Penn Avenue in Pittsburgh's Golden Triangle downtown. So congratulations. Now Zen. Let's get to not just the scores. We're not yet with the scores. Well, once again, Monday, it'll be we're going to add weather to the show. So ready for that. But right now, we're going to get ready as we present to you the entertainment section of our little show. That's right. We're going to talk entertainment, maybe some more sports. But here we go. Wrestling Inc. has some news. WWE Hall of Famer and former AEW World Tag Champion Sting retired earlier this year, wrestling his last match not only alongside Darby Allin, but also his sons, Steven and Garrett. Sting's sons dressed up as versions of their father's past, with Garrett playing Surfer Sting and Steven playing Wolfpack Sting, and seems getting into the ring has lit a fire for the business under at least one of them. Our friends at Fightful Select is reporting that Stephen Borden is currently training with Darby Allin for a possible career in pro wrestling. Allin revealed the information in an interview set to be released on Thursday. Allin has a ring in his backyard, and the appearance at AEW Revolution inspired Sting's scion to pursue wrestling training. Stephen is said to be sleeping in Darby's front yard in a tent while he trains. Stephen, a college football player, had previously said he was hesitant about joining pro wrestling, calling his future in the business murky, but had noted the emotional high he got from performing for fans. Sting and Allen were ultimately successful at Revolution thanks to the help from the Bordens, defeating Mac and Nick Jackson in Sting's final match. Nick and Allen then relinquished their World Tag Team Championship, which ended up back in the hands of the Jacksons at AEW Dynasty after they defeated FTR in a ladder match for vacant titles, thanks to an assist by the returning Jack Perry. Allen, meanwhile, recently returned from nursing multiple injuries to join Team AEW in Anarchy at the Arena at AEW Double or Nothing on Sunday. Let's see what we got here. Logan Paul. Oh, Logan Paul. I think he's sweet on someone in the WWE. Logan Paul has sent a forward message to Kathy Kelly on this week's WWE The Bump. Paul was being interviewed by Kelly when the Maverick claimed that he was smarter than everyone else in the WWE. The reigning WWE United States champion is currently preparing for an opportunity to become a double champion at the upcoming King and Queen of the Ring Premium Live event. He will challenge Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship. In reaction to Paul's claim, Kelly revealed she has an IQ of 142 compared to Paul's 139. Talking to Twitter/X, the Maverick sent a forward message to Kelly. "The girl's a genius," wrote Paul. Bill Apter, the legend himself, spoke highly of Logan Paul and praised him for his in-ring skills. He also termed the Maverick a veteran in the ring. Speaking on Sportskeeda Wrestling's The Wrestling Time Machine, Apter also discussed Paul's upcoming match against Cody Rhodes, expecting a magnificent showdown between the two superstars. Quote, I could see some sort of controversy coming out of this, or maybe both belts are held up or something, some sort of huge controversy to keep that going. Because in terms of ring, young Logan Paul is already. He's like a veteran in the ring. He knows what he is doing, doesn't have to think about it. It all comes naturally. Cody is the same way, so this is going to be a real magnificent match. In other words, this is going to suck. Now, on the latest edition of SmackDown, Paul and Rhodes signed the contract for their upcoming championship match. This match is set to be contested for the undisputed WWE Championship and not for both of the championships. Paul, who won the title at the 23 Crown Jewel Premium Live event, will aim to become a double champion at the King and Queen of the Ring Premium Live event. So, we wish them luck. Okay, let's go with more entertainment news. We have more on the possibility, on rumors about the Paramount Global acquisition merger fandango. So here's what's going to happen, if you're all ready. Here's the summary. Right now, Paramount Global remains the worst investment, but some people say they still believe its potential for success. Paramount's lack of scale is not the reason for its underperformance, as it spends about as much on content as industry leader Netflix. Paramount's loss last year was largely the result of one-off write-downs, both domestically and internationally. These losses will not repeat going forward. Paramount's streaming Operation Paramount Plus, suffers not from lack of scale, but an abundance of overload waste, which may be alleviated under new management. Now, the sports slate remains the best in class, obviously, and CBS is still the leader in not only sports, but in broadcast scripted showgrams. But let's see. While some say that Paramount Global, Sherry Redstone from National Amusements, the parent company of Paramount Global, she kind of likes and still likes Sundance. Although a few rounds need to be played in the game, it is no longer inconceivable that none of the various deal premonitions that have been put forward for Paramount will pan out, and that it will continue as an independent company. Essentially, Sherry Redstone will block a deal with Apollo Global Management and Sony Group Corporation, and the B shareholders will litigate a Skydance deal to death. Because so many seeking alpha articles are already offering blow-by-blow analysis, well, it's not scale, it's maybe tradition or stock performance that might have a few people thinking, what the hell's going on? Burger King's 70th anniversary celebration keeps coming. It's been a very busy spring. The chain for Burger King, the chain is in the midst of celebrating its 70th birthday, and back in March, added 2 fiery chicken items and a birthday cake pie. It appears the party has only just begun, though, as Burger King is currently testing the Buffalo Ranch Crispy Chicken Melt, its first ever Royal Melt featuring chicken instead of Whopper Jr. patties. It is already getting rave reviews. Plus, while supplies last, all BK locations are selling another new Royal Melt, the Philly Melt with mozzarella fries. So we'll just have to see what happens. That is really good stuff you just made. Okay, we're at 11:03. About 48 minutes is now a parting. Oh, can't go too far. Okay, so okay, and the Hollywood Reporter says that Nexstar is about ready to complete its rechristening of the former WGN America to News Nation on June 1st. 3 years after rebranding the channel from WGN Channel 9, Chicago, to WGN America, Nexstar's News Nation will have a full lineup of live news. 3 years after, and that's the title, but we're going to repeat again. 3 years after Nexstar beat Sinclair in no contest by default, over Tribune Broadcasting Company and their stations, including the cable outlet, which used to be WGN Chicago, the simulcast of WGN Chicago, the channel formerly known as WGN America. Nexstar rebranded it to News Nation. The Nexstar-owned channel will officially be a 24/7 cable news outlet. Hey, Taylor Swift, greater than Disney, Star Wars, and MCU, and Doctor Who. How you doing? News Nation says that with the addition of News Nation Now with Adrian Brankert on Saturday and Sunday afternoons, the channel will officially be programming news 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, News Nation has been programming reruns of series on WGN when it was WGN America, Blue Bloods, during the 4 to 7 p.m. weekend hours. Brankert will now anchor in that window. Sean Compton, the president of Nexstar's Networks division, in a statement said, quote, "We are immensely proud to announce that News Nation will be a 24/7 cable news network. This milestone marks culmination of our efforts to continue expanding and growing the network since launching it in 2020. It reaffirms our commitment to delivering unbiased news coverage, a mission that resonates deeply with our viewers, fostering their trust in the brand and strengthening their loyalty to News Nation." Nexstar acquired WGN America when it bought the former Tribune stations in 2019. It originally launched News Nation as a programming block in 2020 before rebranding the channel entirely in 2021. News Nation currently has a primetime lineup of Chris Cuomo, Dan Abrams, and Ashley Banfield, with broadcast and cable news veterans Elizabeth Vargas, Leland Vittert also anchoring key hours. More recently, it built out its weekend lineup in its move to become a 24/7 cable news channel with the weekend editions of Morning in America with Hannah Doba from 7 to 10, News Nation Live from 10 to 1, News Nation Now with Anna Koeman from 1 to 4, and The Hill Sunday with Chris Steyroth, which debuted earlier this year. Now, while News Nation is still small compared to its cable news competitors, its ratings are up more than 200% since the rebranding in 2021. Can't make that story up. Look at MSNBC. So we wish them well. Okay, more little sports. We're getting close, so we're going to get this over with. Even as it faces a full court press from investors curious to know if it will retain rights to show games from the NBA, Warner Brothers Discovery has been courting sports from a different field. Warner Brothers Discovery struck a deal with rival ESPN, according to two people familiar with the matter, that will have the former sub-licensing a small number of college football playoff games over a 5-year period starting later this year. TNT will be the lead media network for broadcasts of 2 first-round games this year and next, and then will add 2 quarterfinal games starting in 2026. The deal services and Warner Brothers Discovery remains enmeshed through critical discussions with the NBA about renewing long-standing media rights. Warner and the NBA have been aligned since, 1989, with the relationship growing so strong that Warner has helped operate the NBA's cable network and manage some of its digital properties. Yes, we caught. And yet, the NBA's media contracts, both ESPN and Warner Brothers Discovery, expire after next season, and the league has already worked out deal frameworks with the Disney-backed outlet, as well as Amazon Prime Video and NBC Universal, according to people familiar with the situation. Warner Brothers Discovery believes it has a right to try to match a deal offered by any rival. Warner and the Basketball League remain in talks about maintaining their current ties. This is very much an ongoing negotiation, and we're going to continue to cover it. So, indeed, stand by. Yike. Ooh, Lordy. Quick, before it seeps. Quick. Don't need sticky. Oh boy. Okay. Okay. Hang on. Up. And there went that. Happened. Okay. We'll just throw this. Back. Boom. Okay. I knew today was not going to be an easy day. But okay.